M23 rebels. And it shows that, research has shown that, investigations have shown its affiliation to the M23 rebels. Let's start from that point going forward.
But sometimes someone may want to know, because I will be very quick because of time constraints, because why in the first place Rwanda is there. Right. And also the quagmire of a situation that we find in the DRC. Because the DRC is a country that has never known any peace. We can take from slave trade, the colonial era of Leopold of Belgium, the post-colonial dictatorship of Mobutu Sese Seko, and then the chaos. But the most important event in history, the Rwandan genocide. Yeah, because if you go back to the Rwandan genocide, because the genocide was, it was carried out by Hutu extremist group. Right. They were in power at that time in Rwanda. And then the Rwandan Patriotic Front, that was led by Paul Kagame. They worked very hard, they fought very hard to stop the madness, the carnage, where nearly 1 million people died. But then what happened during the genocide? Some of the members, some of the Hutus, extremists, were called the Interahamwe, they fled into neighboring DRC. Right. Yeah, and then you know what happened? They set up bases there. And then, after taking over of Rwanda by the Tutsi-led government, it was not Paul Kagame who was the president then. I think it was another one, I forgot the name. And then Paul Kagame was not happy because he felt that the Hutus who fled to the DRC, they were very instrumental they were mobilized in order to come back to Rwanda to cause havoc. You know what he did? He asked the president of DRC, it was Zaire by then, Mobutu Sese Seko, that was his name. And then what happened, Mobutu did not heed to the call of dismantling the refugee camps around Kivu province, North Kivu and then South Kivu. And then what happened, Rwanda, and then with the help of Uganda, they helped rebel forces inside DRC. And then Mobutu was removed, and then the rebels that were led by Laurent Kabila, at that time, and then it was not good at all. Right. And then there was another war, in 1998 up to 2003. Right. Yeah, because then after Laurent Kabila came in, and then there was a lot of influence of Rwanda and Uganda inside DRC, because it was felt that they brought this government to power. But then people were not happy, and then the government of Kabila, changed, and then there was another war. It's another story as well. But then when you look at this, the M23 issue, because it was not the M23, it was the CD.
Before you go on, I just want to acknowledge, your insight on where this stands from. Yeah. Because for most people who are not, quite politically literate, for lack of a better word, I would say most people do not really understand why Rwanda is now, we find traces of Rwanda in the mix of the conflicts happening.
There are two false. Because right now, the official position, sometimes, even though Rwanda is saying that it's not, but because they want to pursue the FDLR. The FDLR is a rebel group that is dominated by Hutus. Some of those Hutus are remnants of the Hutus who caused the havoc in Rwanda way back in 1994. Some of them, the Interahamwe. And then the M23, so the M23, these are ethnic Tutsi rebel group. They have connections with the Tutsis in Rwanda. In fact, when you look at the leader of M23, Sultan Makenga, he's a Tutsi, and at one time in 1994, he crossed, 1994-93, he crossed into Rwanda to help his comrades to fight the extremist Hutus there. They have got strong ethnic connections. So Rwanda basically is arming and supporting M23 to weaken the FDR and pursue the FDR. And it is accusing the DRC government of Tshisekedi of backing the FDLR, which intends to cross over into Rwanda and topple the Kagame government. And also there is issue of resource exploitation,
right?
Because sometimes the chaotic eastern DRC, it is very good for the Rwanda because it's Goma, which has now come under the control of the M23. It sits at the border between Rwanda and the DRC. So it is now very easy for the Rwandese to go inside, exploit the resources. Because I remember after the war in 1998, Rwanda started to export diamonds, but the country does not have many diamonds. Rwanda is now, lithium, all this, because the Eastern Congo is very, very rich. But the two rebel groups are not the only ones that are dominant there. There are also more than 120 rebel groups. Because that area is a complicated brew of ethnic rivalries, nationalities and resource competition. By the Mai Mai, by the Codeco, by the ADF, Allied Democratic Forces, its route from Uganda, allied to ISIS. That's so many of the body Mai Mai, with the Red Tabara, so there's a competition for resources as well. In addition to ethnic rivalries and nationalist rivalries. Truly speaking, now when Rwanda is also there for resource exploitation, truly speaking, a chaotic Eastern Congo, it suits their strategic, vision very well of exploiting resources there. And also the M23 ask themselves, because they're so heavily armed to the level that...
before we get into the nitty-gritties of that, I'd like for us maybe, for those who do not know, if you could maybe enlighten us on the evidence that was found that links Rwanda to the M23. Yeah,
there was also intelligence report that were released by the United Nations. I think it was last year, 2024 or 2023, I stand to be corrected. There was some intelligence report and also some footages that shows movement between Rwanda and DRC. And also now people are asking themselves, why is this rebel group having this heavy artillery? Yeah, because there was the UN representative at that time who was saying, these guys have got so much, they've got heavy artillery that can down an aeroplane. But this is just a rebel group. They have got a state-backed, they are backed by a state actor. They are non-state actors, but they're backed by a state actor. State actor which has also some interest there. The interest is for its own national security, of making sure that it weakens the FDLR, which intends to go back into Rwanda to topple Kagame. But at the same time, resource exploitation. So how can they achieve that objective? They have to back the M23. And the M23, truly speaking, up to today, they're one of the most heavily armed, rebel groups out of the more than 120 that are inside.
Which was the key question in, linking Rwanda to the rebel group.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because M23, and also they have got ethnic, most of the M23, the M23 is predominantly Tutsi. Yeah, Sultan Makenga, even in the past when it was CDMP or CDP or whatever you call it, CNDP, the likes of Ronico Guerreros and also Bonebo Nkunda. Yeah, that Tutsis, the ethnic Tutsis, and most of the ethnic Tutsis inside DRC, they've got their ethnic alliances with those from Rwanda. Yes.
Right. We do know that the president of Kenya did mention that there will be an emergency meeting that will be held to try to dissect the situation out in DRC. If maybe you can give us insight on some of the things that we're expecting them to come together on. Yeah,
they wanted a ceasefire because I think that's the main issue. Yeah, ceasefire. And then after a ceasefire, then you can open humanitarian corridors so that people there, more than 2 million people have been affected, displacement and all the like, and then at least open up humanitarian corridors so that people can get relief, because, it's a humanitarian disaster, I have to tell the truth. So I think a ceasefire, but I doubt if anything will come out positive from the situation, because the situation is so volatile, and also the accusation and counter-accusation between the Tshisekedi government and Rwanda, you know, because they say, yeah, of course, we are committed to ceasefire, we are committed to peace, but the reality on the ground shows otherwise. Because also there are the two governments, the two leaders. Tshisekedi said, no, I'm not backing the FDR, the FDLR, the Hutu predominant group. And then Kagame is also saying, no, I'm not backing the M23. So truly speaking, the situation is very, very...
It's quite deeply rooted,
but intelligence report and also, you know, reports from some eyewitnesses who are there on the ground, you know, villagers and all the experts from different international organizations, they point the finger to Rwanda that the Rwandan troops are currently present inside Goma, which is under M23 as we speak.
Right. It is, like you're saying, that it is most likely that a ceasefire will not be something that we'll see happening anytime soon, because this is, like you have just explained, without learning that this is quite, you know, deeply rooted, given that it is something that stems from decades upon decades of ethnic, you know, issues, rivalries,
nationalist rivalries, resource competition, resource exploitation. Not only resource exploitation by rebel groups, but also multinational corporations. Companies from abroad, they're operating there. They've got their own private military personnel who are protecting there. There are also some airstrips. More than 5,000 airstrips are operating that are outside the authority of this National Civil Aviation Authority. And one will say that, there was one author who said that these airstrips are more taken care of than the national airstrips or the national airports. Yeah, because they serve the interest of these actors very well. Yeah, there are also some criminal elements, as well, heavily armed as well. So truly speaking, it's chaos, cacophony, and truly speaking, that region is ready, it's a powder keg that is ready to plunge into a conflagration of magnanimous magnitude. You know, it's yeah, it's a very serious situation that I don't know exactly how you know, international actors, local actors, regional actors are going to find. I was just about to come to
that you know, from an expert's view, what can really be done or put on the table to ease tensions?
It's a very tricky issue because right now we see the UN is there, but the local population is not happy with them, and they want them to leave. I think they were supposed to leave December. It has been extended. There's also the SADC troops there from South Africa, Malawi, and 14 of them has died from South Africa. I think 13, 9, I think it was on Monday. Yesterday, today they reported another 4. Malawi also lost, and also the UN. And truly speaking, I don't know how they are going to navigate international you know, peace efforts. I think they are needed. First of all, it is very important, you know, to have a ceasefire, open up humanitarian corridors, and also try to open up doors for dialogue. Dialogue to local actors, regional actors, and international actors. And those, the dialogue should be genuine. You get to the root causes of all this. And also at state level, the DRC should also make some very serious economic, socio-economic reforms, as well as security sector reform, in order, you know, to find a way in which they can establish very good institutions, strong institutions of governance, and try to, you know, deliver, you know, the public goods to the people, which I think is very, very, very. The road ahead is not only rocky, but also foggy.
Very foggy as well. Quite unclear how this will unfold, but I guess, you know, in the meet, we'll get to perhaps get the direction that they're headed to. You know, that is all the time that we did have.
I think maybe next week we shall do the part 2 and see how things the latest develop. Because I think we can spend the whole week speaking about DRC, because it has a very rich but dark history of conflict and unrest, and authoritarianism, militancy, you know, warlordism, and all sorts of, you know,
right. Thank you so much for joining us. That was political expert Rakgomo, and we're on the topic of the disheartening situation that is happening, that the ongoing conflict and unrest that continues, to befall the Democratic Republic of Congo. We've come to the end of our program right here on BTV News is in Context. And from myself, Lucia Ramasu, and the rest of the team, it's goodbye and stay safe.